Welcome to the Inventory Professional Podcast, brought to you by Inventory Base, providers of industry-leading property inspection software, accredited training, and on-demand property reports. Join us as we discuss the latest news, legislation, and all things property, hosted by our very own inventory expert, Sián Metcalf. With regular special guests, listen in to our open and honest discussions about the role of the inventory professional and how to navigate through this ever-changing, fast-paced industry.
Welcome to the Inventory Professional Podcast with me, Sián from Inventory Base Academy. So today I'm joined by Zoe Taylor from Assist Inventories. Zoe, tell us a bit about yourself and your service.
Hello, yes, thanks for having me. So Assist Inventories, we do bespoke residential, commercial, build-to-rent industries alongside other related services that support letting agents, developers and landlords. Over the last 7 years, our core service has been inventories, but we're constantly in touch with our clients and build products around what they need or any new legislations that come about. So we now also offer services like Legionnaire risk assessments, PAT testing, deposit dispute advice, property viewing, which is an unusual thing for an inventory provider to offer, but the landlords that don't live locally to their portfolio absolutely love us being able to take that off their hands. We're always looking to expand and tweak what we offer, because at the end of the day, our job is to take the load off our clients when they're organising their tenancies.
No, that sounds really, really good. And yeah, I certainly agree with you in regards to the service offering to the private landlords, because there is so many that don't live locally that especially I think I see a lot more doing properties and property management up north when they're based down south. I see that quite a lot, but certainly also within the London area, a lot of them are actually offshore as well. So I can definitely see where that particular service of yours will really come in handy. So it's always good, I think, from an industry supply point of view, to keep your options open, to have different revenue streams, maybe than sticking to one particular one, because you never know, especially how things have gone in the last few years, how the market will change, pivot, and you need as a service to definitely go with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we've also expanded in doing sort of news articles as well at the moment. We've got a great e-newsletter where we do a 5x5 interviews, basically 5 minutes, 5 questions with an industry expert. Simon Shinerock, chairman at Choices, was one of our recent targets. And these are getting published in Negotiator, Estate Agents Today. You know, so now we're also serving up news and conversations to agents, giving them insight into all areas of their business, not just inventories.
And there is so much to our industry. We were talking just off podcast earlier on, weren't we? And saying, you know, how diverse the industry is and how much we as providers need to understand and know about the industry so that we can really give the best possible service, because we understand the impacts and the pain points.
Oh yeah, we're all about that. We're all about adapting and changing to, you know, new legislation, to what our clients need. You can't just provide inventories. I think that's not going to help you succeed as a company, is just sticking by one model.
Definitely not if you're looking to expand, for sure. I think we were talking earlier on about the fact that, you know, the perception of the industry, certainly at the moment, and has been for many, many years, I believe, is just a report service. If someone comes in, does a couple of pictures, a few bits of note taking, and that's kind of like it. But we know, you know, from a service delivery point of view, it is so much more than that. And there's so much more expected of us as a supplier to the industry.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's even little things as well to help them. So our latest venture is, which is another example of us listening and helping our customers, is over the years, I've been asked countless of times, do you know a good cleaner, a good handyman, an EPC provider? So we thought, okay, well, let's start building a directory of suppliers for, you know, residential companies. Let's someone that, you know, we would trust and recommend, you know, have that sit on our website so it's easy to access and search the trade that you need, you know, like like the new residential yellow pages. You need a locksmith, you need a CRM platform, then, it's all in one sort of handy Harry place for you just to go and find this information. We're trying to think of a good name and a slogan for it, so we might do a competition at some stage. But even that's just a little something extra that we offer.
Well, I think you've already got your slogan, Handy Harry. I quite like
Handy
that.
Harry.
I
love Handy Harry.
I mean, and I agree with you, because I myself been asked so many times, do you know a builder, a carpenter, a carpet fitter, cleaner? There's always questions and queries about, different suppliers that people want, and they need recommendation. Like you said, you've got to be so careful now, because anybody you recommend has potential to reflect back on you as a service provider. So you want to know that if you are recommending them, that they are qualified, insured, and that they're going to do a good job. And that's one of the reasons we have work streams, because that's exactly what we're providing in regards to inventory providers, to gas safety, electrical engineers, right the way through to drone pilots. It's about having that confidence, but also that access via the work streams and inventory-based system to be able to then link with those suppliers and hopefully then get a really good job done.
Yeah, totally agree.
So one of the recent events in your history with Assist Inventories, I believe you've just won an award.
I have. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Congratulations. So tell us about it.
Oh, yes. So, well, it was a real honour, actually, to win the People's Award. I didn't even know I was entered into it, to be honest. I'm not sure how that all works on the Esther's side of stuff, but when they were announcing the shortlist, my name popped up. My bosses said, "Oh, you're in for the People's Award," and I was, "What People Award?" Okay, so like we're really, really excited about that. It was a real honour. I'd like to say thank you to you for collecting my award on the day. Was it a good night?
Yeah, it was a fabulous night. I got to walk past and look up at Phil Spencer, so that really was a highlight for me. But no, it was really good. It was good to have, literally, I think it was like 101 tables, over 1,000 industry professionals there, estate agent, letting agents, suppliers, conveyancers, all in one space, celebrating what's been, for everyone, a very difficult time, showcasing that how well suppliers and all of those categories have done, and the levels of service provided throughout the last few years. So it was really nice to be able to celebrate that with everybody. So it was an absolute pleasure to pick up your award for you, and it was just so nice. Let your hair down, enjoy, have a really good meal, speak to other people, made some really good friends, linked up with a few more people that I've been Zooming over the last year or two, that knew by face, but that was about it. And it was nice to actually touch base with them all. So I think now that the industry and the industry awards are all coming back, I know you're up for a negotiators award, same as we are, inventory base.
Yeah, we are. The Supplier of the Year Business Products and Services, I believe, is our award. So fingers crossed for another one.
Yep. Oh, it should be good. But it's a great way of showcasing, suppliers and what they're doing in the industry, and showing them that we're not just behind the curtains, as it were. All of a sudden there's a report and you don't know who's done it. There's a human element, there's a human face to that, and that these are real people doing really hard jobs and doing them really, really well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Our clerks worked really hard during the pandemic. It was, they were amazing. I can't thank them enough for continuing doing their job and still doing it well when, this was all happening around us. That I'm eternally grateful for them.
I totally agree with you. And obviously that naturally dovetails in just to how the service industry is as a whole. And I know we talked again about, you listening to your clients, finding out what they need, developing around and with them.
So for Assist, it's all about staying in touch with our clients' needs, like we've mentioned earlier, really listening to what they want and keeping up to date on what's developing around them too. Legislation in this industry is causing all sorts of backlashes, from the end of no fault Section 21 evictions, higher taxes and constant red tape for landlords. And all of this is leading to a decline in stock. I mean, there's plenty of tenant demand, but agents are having to work harder and compete to get the stock that is out there. So it's vital for them to keep their landlord clients happy, to get repeat business.
Mm-hmm.
So the important thing is that Assist, we see ourselves and act as an extension of the agent's brand. So we kind of feel that we do play a small part in their customer satisfaction and their customer retention. Like, for example, if an agent instructs an inventory provider whose report is then used in a dispute, but that report doesn't stand up, then the landlord loses out. And as a result, the agent will also lose out, because it's very likely that that landlord will use another agent for the next let. So it's not just about getting the right inventory at the right price for your landlord. It's choosing the right provider that ensures your landlord's investment is protected and you keep your client. So really, basically for us, success means that you have to make sure that you're on top and ready to make changes.
And I think that, again, that dovetails straight back to the whole point of listening and talking to your client, understanding the industry, knowing what's going on, being literally there on top of everything, so that when they're asking you questions, you're already aware of what might be impacting them. And like you said, the legislations, the changes, and even the fact that the rental reform white papers have been put back already, that's already been felt in the industry. It'll be used almost as kind of like a standard for everything going forward for the industry. And to have that held back is actually going to cause us problems, as well as, especially like you said, with the legislation changes that are going on at the moment. There's so many of them. In a way, it's getting very crowded, very difficult to understand where the route map is. Where do we go from here? What do we do next? And how do we make sure that we're compliant all the time? Again, like you said, with all this legislation that underpins the industry.
Yeah, there's a lot. I read a really good white paper recently. I think it was Good Lord that had 3 industry experts explain what was going on and their side of it. And there were some really interesting little things that are popping up. And there's a new legislation about landlords that may reside in China, and what agents have to be aware, data compliant, particularly for that. There's lots of little changes being made that, our clients and us. I mean, it's important that I know what's going to affect my client.
I think you're quite right. And it's something we certainly talk about all the time in Inventory Based Academy, Inventory Based myself with my own business and my own clerks and clients, that you've got to be on top of all of this and understand exactly how it's going to potentially impact, and not just wait for it to happen. I think the tenant fee ban was a prime example of that. The fact that we got behind it, we understood what it meant, and also understood what the potential impacts would be, so that we could prepare ourselves, prepare our clients, and make sure that no one fell foul, as we started down that road of not being able to charge the tenants anything and everything then go back to the landlords. And as you well know, it's all about providing not just the service, but also the value of service.
I'd also like to say, having the ability to bespoke your services and reports to fit your agents' in-house admin processes is important too. Every client has a particular need or want. That could be anything from changing the care of on an invoice for each booking, or assist sending reports and monitoring tenant signatures. Some agents prefer to do that in-house, but most clients really appreciate that being taken off their hands. Bespoke inventory reports that include completely different or additional items, or if they just want to send an email and say, this is what we need, and we take care of everything else, the timing, the access, and at the end they just get a signed and completed report at the end. Have to say, I can't tell you how happy I am for Inventory Base that helps us all do this.
Oh, that's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, it's a dream, because one of the last inventory companies I worked for used Outlook, Calendar, and Word.
I
mean, it's the horror, like no idea how I coped, and it would have been absolutely impossible for me to actually grow the business. So I definitely could not do that without you guys.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. That's really good. I mean, the system is absolutely brilliant, and it's so responsive, but equally so easy to understand and to use. And then like, as you, I know that you're aware, and I am as well, that there's little bits you think, oh, if it could do this, that would be even better. And you just got to ask. And sometimes it's easy to do, or sometimes it might take a little bit of time, but they always get there. And I think that's one of the best things about any kind of prop tech. It's got to be useful to you as a user, as well as to your clients. And if you've got a responsive company like Inventory Base building the systems for you that work with you and do what you need them to do, that to me is just the absolute dream.
Yeah, I mean, I think I might drive your developers crazy sometimes, because I'm like, oh, what about if I just had a little button here that just did this? Oh, they're like, they're lovely, and they're always like, we'll push that forward to the developers. Thanks for letting us know. I mean, it just gives us and our clients so much range for bespoking anything that they want. You've got your auto notifications, direct sharing reports, comment management, and signature management. It's like basically everything we need to keep in line with our bespoke ethos, and cherries sprinkled on top. It's a dream. And we now sort of like promote this as one of our USPs, is providing this inventory management platform that's not just for us to be able to provide these great top-notch reports. It's the clients can use it. There's a back end where the clients get to see their dashboard, all their portfolios at a glance, rather than them emailing me saying, where are we at with this particular point of an instruction. They can go online and see straight away. Need a report download? On they pop to their dashboard, download it. It just saves so much admin time for the agents as well, using this platform. It's not just brilliant for us, it's brilliant for our clients as well.
It's all about the efficiencies, isn't it? It's about making it nice, simple, easy to use, and does exactly what it is that you want it to do. And then that in itself takes away so much stress, so many issues that, in other systems and other ways that people do their reports can actually give you more of a headache rather than actually help you. And I think that's really important, especially today, because we're always thinking about getting everything done now, or we want it almost instantly or within 24 hours. So the infrastructure has to be able to work with that and develop with that to be able to give you the tools so you can then go to your clients and go, yeah, I can do that for you.
Lastly, I think another really important ingredient for success is definitely your staff. We provide top-notch reports, but we are actually only as good as our worst clerk. Which of course we don't want any worse clerks. So,
oh God, no.
No, thank you very much. So we have a field training manager that shadows our clerks on quarterly reviews. We've got a head clerk that's always there to help answer any questions or help them develop their career. Another plug for you guys, like Academy, thank you. Such a great platform for helping our staff develop themselves. So we've got some clerks doing the NSPCC Safeguarding Awareness course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, such a great course, and I think that it's a brilliant course to offer. We've got a couple of clerks doing that one, and there was a house one. Remind me what your habitation.
Yeah, so we've got accredited courses for learn how to produce professional inventory reports. We've also got them for fitness for human habitation, and also for Legionella risk assessments. And there's a variety of other resources that we provide, deposit disputes, how to do commercial inventories. So the idea is to provide clerks and businesses with additional training and options, and try and give them the help and support that maybe it doesn't necessarily get given in the rest of the industry as much as it should do, bearing in mind that we do have a couple of industry associations, which I don't think right at this moment necessarily provide what we need as suppliers in order to be able to do our job and do our job well within the current industry and the way the housing is at the moment.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I also feel that, industries are not fully supported in the industry at all. They get a bit of a bad rap. The importance isn't really fully appreciated. I mean, I get it. It's like insurance, isn't it? You don't want to spend your money on what might happen. There's better things to spend it on in the present. So support with educating the industry, I think, is slightly lacking. Some clients have said to me, the landlords decided not to go ahead and have an inventory. It's like, alarm bells, This is not what is best for their client. But them understanding why is crucial. We've got this little leaflet that we share with our clients that they can then forward on to the landlords, explaining why having a third party inventory is so important. You know, if you take the risk and you don't get one conducted, or you do and you pay for a cheap one, you risk losing thousands. You know, spend a couple of £100 now versus losing thousands later is a bit of a no-brainer, really. I don't know if you're aware, but the AIIC were in the process of lobbying for third-party inventory reports to be mandatory.
Yes, I was, yeah.
Which is an exciting prospect, but, you know, unfortunately the chairman left, and I don't think it's actually a priority for them at the moment. I mean, we'd definitely get on the bandwagon for that if anyone is up for taking that challenge. Hint, hint, inventory base.
It's something we've discussed on quite a lot certainly with the industry, with suppliers like yourself and myself, and also the wider industry. And I think there is an appetite there for that. But I think with the rental reform, with all the stuff that's going on in the industry, I think the industry itself is kind of like more thinking about the letting agents and the estate agents as opposed to the supplier industry. But there are a few within the camps like Property Mark that are aware that how important suppliers are to the industry and are kind of like championing the cause and want to get the whole agenda of how suppliers provide to the industry and also the importance of inventories really high on their agenda. That's one of the biggest problems I think we do have in the industry at the moment, is, like I said, that lack of support. And that's something certainly from an academy point of view, we're trying to address that. And you know me, I'm always talking about it, always saying whatever I can and getting anybody to listen to me about how brilliant our suppliers are, how brilliant, you know, Assist Inventories are, how great clerks are in general, and how much they can really bring to the table, the skills, the expertise, the knowledge base that goes often untapped. And I just think we just got to get the industry to look at us in a different light, that we are not a nice to have, like you said, a bit of an add-on, you know, might save you a few pounds here, but maybe I'd actually want to go somewhere else, or I want to save money somewhere else because I don't really see the importance of inventories. We need to just change that mindset. And I think once we do that, whether inventories become mandatory, they might not need to because everybody sees the importance of it. But I sometimes think the industry needs to not only be championed, but also needs to champion itself as well.
Yeah, totally agree. A lot of education, I think, to be had. I think it's all very well having these industry bodies with standards and, you know, from the AIIC or ALA, but I think, you know, it'd just be great if the industry as a whole shifts its attitude towards inventories.
And that's why, you know, we've talked again previously about good customer service, why it's important. What makes it important for you and for Assist Inventories?
I think everyone has been at the end of bad customer service, like everybody. My mantra in life is treat others how you wish to be treated, and it's no different when translating that into providing customer satisfaction. It's not rocket science, really.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah, and it's like, I think it's the little things as well that are important. Like, if someone, for example, asks me, you know, do you cover this area, and we don't, I won't just say, oh no, sorry, you know, we can't help. I'll give them a link to the AIIC, tell them where the search tool is so they can look for a clerk in their area. I'll save all my clients' names and numbers, so I answer the call, hi John, you know, hello Sally, it's Zoe here, rather than just your standard good morning, Assist Inventories, Zoe speaking. So I think little touches make a difference. It's like the ripple effect, right?
I totally agree. And you've also got obviously work streams as well, where, you know, if you're not necessarily able to service that area, you could also use work streams in order to outsource, which means then your potential reach as a company becomes that much bigger because you're not necessarily having to lose that client to someone else. You can keep them in-house, but use the work streams option in order to create that ability to do that report by using a third party that you know is tried and trusted because of the fact of the fact they're on the work streams in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like I said, it's how you want to be treated. I would like someone to say to me, oh, don't use that dry cleaner around the corner. These ones are 10 times better. And
it is still relevant. Dry cleaning is still relevant because at the end of the day, it's a service. It's something that is important to you, for something to be done, and that, you know, you want to be able to, you know, give your clothes over to someone that will treat them with respect and give them back to you in a clean condition that you can then use. It's all supply, it's all service related, isn't it? So it's all part and parcel of that bigger industry. And it's no different if you are going to Tesco's, you're going to Sainsbury's or Asda's, you want the same kind of level of service. You want to be treated well. You want to obviously treat people well as well, which I think sometimes certainly in the retail industry, that doesn't happen a lot. And I think that's what it comes back down to what you were saying about those little touches making a difference, of that ripple effect. About if you don't get good customer service, then that ripple effect will continue down that line and impact on other areas. And I think you mentioned to me before about also the need for transparency and honesty also is a huge issue for you.
Yeah, it's huge. I think if you bugger up, say it as it is. No one is perfect. Companies are people make mistakes, but it's how you manage that error that makes all the difference to the customer. I mean, they're not always right? But making them feel listened to and valued and providing a solution, whatever that looks like, whatever that may be, goes a long way.
It does. But I agree with you. And I think sometimes people are very wary of almost saying, actually, I don't agree with you. I don't think you're right, because they're always thinking they're going to leave me. They're going to go somewhere else. They won't value me. And sometimes I think the fact that you do say, I don't necessarily agree, and this is why I don't agree, but this is how I view it, or what I would do differently, and give them options. I think they look at you thinking, actually, yeah, I can understand that. Or they might actually say, no, I don't agree with you, but isn't it nice to have a conversation and be able to almost like bounce off each other's ideas and understandings? And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to agree you'll come to the same kind of solution, but I think they then see you as a business, as someone who's thinking. You're not there just to say yes all the time. You're actually thinking about them, their I suppose their reputation and the impact on potentially something that they are going to do, like, as you said earlier, not having an inventory. You say to them, look, if you don't have an inventory, these are the potential issues, these are the impacts going forward. If they still make that decision, then that's entirely up to them, but at least you've done as much as you can to inform them. And I think certainly from my experience working with letting agents, they like that honesty, they like that integrity and that ability as a business to show them that actually you're so much more than just a clerk.
So another quote of mine is, we don't want to work for you, we want to work with you. So if they're asking for something that we know is not correct, if they're asking for a tenancy swap, for example, and they just want, an incorrect report done because the landlord doesn't want to pay for it, we'll explain why. We'll explain the cons of having it done, in that way, or the pros of having it done in the right way. And of course, they have to make their own decision what that's going to be. But I think having that dialogue and just being honest and upfront of whether it might mean that I'm losing out money on a report that they've asked for, and I'm losing out money because I've suggested, well, actually, this is not what you need. What you need is this, and I might lose a couple of £100 saying that. But for me, it's important that I give them what they need and the right service.
And they will thank you for that. They will probably look at that, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe next week or something, and think, actually, no, that was really helpful. Or the fact that you were honest enough to say to them, no, actually, you don't need this, you need that. Yes, you're going to lose out in instruction, but the integrity that you gain from that, the confidence your client has in your services and you as a provider, that sometimes it doesn't come with a pound sign. It really doesn't. It's more about the fact that you've provided such a good service, and that's what keeps companies and agents and other service providers working with you, because they feel confident, they feel that the integrity is there, that the honesty is there, that you are looking out not just for your own interest but also theirs as well. And sometimes, again, in not just this is an industry, but in general in life, that's sometimes lacking. And I think people really do appreciate that level of kind of honesty coming from you as a provider.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had calls from people looking to swap inventory providers because, so-and-so who used to be really attentive and got bought up by bigger / franchises, and they've ended up like on a conveyor belt, just a number. Reports are churned out, standardized, lack any important detail, getting hold of the right person for any sort of last minute changes which happens a lot, it's unlikely, and they just don't like it. It's, that people buy from people, and I think that what we used to, for example, we used to have a pop-up on our website for online chat. I mean, everyone's got it. Everyone has a little pop-up, here to help. And I always question, are you a real person? That's one of the first questions I always want to ask is, are you a bot or are you a real person? But anyway, so we did it, everyone else did it, but we took it away because in the busy times when we couldn't respond immediately, they would get a bot, and that's not what we're about. I think going back to sort of customer service, I think it's giving that little bit extra, it's exceeding expectations, not just meeting them, and and have in mind how you want to be treated.
Today, I saw a stat from Repit where it says 78% of UK customers want to interact with real people, even more so as technology improves. So to me, technology is an enabler, but we want that human contact. We want that empathetic conversation where someone is on the end of that phone or the end of the Zoom call, depending if that's how you conduct your business, so that they feel part and parcel of the conversation and not just being pushed off to a bot and just left to get on with it and wait to see if you come back with anything, or you get bored, or it gets so complicated you just stop. And that's not good customer service. I mean, we are a people facing service, even though a lot of time when we're doing reports, we're not actually seeing anybody, but we are talking constantly to landlords, to tenants, to agents all the time. And I think for us, certainly the technology, inventory-based academy, and the app and everything that goes and underpins what we provide is about providing that efficiency, that technology to make that whole process quicker and better. But it's the humans, it's you, it's your clerks, your team that makes all the difference.
Yeah, definitely. We can't lose sight of that. I think that technology is amazing. It's great. I couldn't do my job without you. Do you know what I mean? I really could not do my job without you guys.
There has to be that human element. There has to be a real person who understands what it is that they're doing at the end of the phone or at the end of the report or at the property, to really help the agent, the landlord and the tenant understand exactly what it's there for and how it benefits them and it supports them and protects them. And that to me is what a good inventory stroke checkout stroke interim report does. It protects.
Yes, totally agree with you. That's exactly how I and Assist view this.
Great. Well, we're definitely on the same page there. So that brings me to my last question. Top tips. I love a good top tip. I'm always giving them, anybody that ever listens to me and anybody that doesn't listen to me, I'll still give them top tip whether they like it or not. But so for you, what would say is your top tip? What could you tell our podcast listeners that you feel that is really helpful, certainly for people coming into the industry, looking to either work as a clerk, set up their own business? What would you say?
I love a top tip as well. I mean, subscribe to our newsletter for some more of those.
Shameless plug.
But yeah, I think it's all important, isn't it? There's, I don't think there's like a shiny golden nugget that I can bestow upon you. But I think, going back to important is your staff. A part of a business of success is your staff. I think for clerks, they are the face of our business. We're behind the desk. We're sort of like, the little ducks under the water and our legs going underneath, and the swans on top of our clerks. I think it's for them to have a real can-do attitude really goes a long way, and being respectful when it comes to meeting tenants. You're not just representing your company, but you're also representing the agents, your clients. Moving house can be really stressful, and sometimes the clerk is the first actual person the tenant has seen in that whole process of renting a new home. They don't always know that the clerk is a third party, and they might ask you questions like, what is it like in the area, or can that sofa be removed? They can arrive a little vexed. So clerks do need to take a calm approach, be flexible, be courteous, and not in a rush to get to the next job. It can make a big difference. I think a happy tenant is like, is a happy client. And finally, I think remembering that your customers are people, not just an income, and be respectful, mindful, and most importantly, kind, in all areas of your life. Really, it can't do any harm, can it?
No, I totally agree. And sometimes top tips doesn't necessarily are meant to give you like that instant, oh, yeah, I've got to go and do that, got to go and implement it. Sometimes it's remembering, like you said, that customer service, the fact is that friendly smile, that can-do attitude. You might not be able to help, but you can certainly help signpost. You can give some advice, or at least then feedback to your client, say, look, this has happened. You need to have a word with either the tenant or landlord, or you might have a problem here. So I'm giving you the heads up now so you can get on top of it and be ready for it, rather than it become a bigger issue down the line. And I think sometimes we forget just doing those things, and that like I said, being happy and being helpful goes such a long way, not just like you said about how you're perceived, but also how the customer sees and the agent's perceived, and it all reflects on. I think certainly now that we're in this digital age where we're all on social media and everybody's got an opinion, you do need to be mindful of that, because people react to that, and people also look to you as a service to ensure that you're also providing all of that kind of support and advice and guidance, but also make it a pleasurable experience, because sometimes, as we both know, things don't go right when renting. Things happen, or things don't happen, and people get upset and, like you said, a little bit stressed and a little bit vexed, and sometimes we can make that difference. I've often had conversations with tenants where they've been really, really upset, but because we're a third party, they will listen to us, they will take the time, because we've got no vested interest. We're there just to provide a service, and we can help them understand and de-escalate and just make it a more pleasurable experience. And sometimes just having that conversation with someone slightly outside of the process, as you put it, outside that lettings process itself, makes all the difference in it. And it can go from a very upset tenant to a more helpful and happier, more or de-stressed tenant than maybe it would have been if we hadn't had those conversations. So I think we do, and certainly our clerks do, a fabulous job. And in a way, your People's Award has showcased exactly how Assist Inventories are taking the lead in regards to good customer service, but also I think in the wider industry with the awards that we've got going on at the moment. We're in award season. It's not just a pat on the back, but I think it's also showcasing how good as a service industry we really do perform. And it's nice to see people, see yourself, see Assist Inventories and also other suppliers recognised in the industry.
Yeah, really excited for this industry actually, and looking forward to seeing you hopefully at the Negotiator Awards. It'd be nice to put a face to the Zoom.
Yep, I'm hoping to be there. That's certainly the intention, and we're up for 3 awards as well. Right, well, Zoe, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think we've covered a lot of really good and useful information and topics, especially around customer service being very, very much key to our industry and certainly to Assist Inventories. Well done on your People's Award, and thank you very much indeed for joining us. And if you do want to get in touch with Zoe and Assist Inventories, I'll make sure that the contact details are in the show notes. So thank you, Zoe. Good luck with Negotiators. Hopefully I'll see you then.
Thank you. Goodbye. Stay safe.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Inventory Professional Podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, subscribe to our podcast now and share the love. This podcast was brought to you by Inventory Base, providers of industry-leading property inspection software, accredited training, and on-demand property reports.